The world as we know it has its days numbered, but not in the way disaster movies suggest. We are facing an unprecedented planetary transition, a moment in which the wheat and the chaff are finally separated. If you arrived at this video, it was not by chance. There is a frequency vibrating in your chest that identifies you as one of the chosen ones. Those who came with the mission of anchoring the new consciousness while the old structures collapse. Many feel an inexplicable anguish, as if something grand were about to happen. And it is. We are approaching 5 sequential events that will change the trajectory of humanity forever. These events are not punishments, but cleansing processes necessary for the arrival of the light. You have been prepared for ages for this moment. Your trials, your feeling of not belonging, and your relentless search for answers were the training for what begins now. I am George, and my mission is to ensure that you not only survive these events, but that you lead through them. From now on, neutrality no longer exists. Either you are awake and ready to act, or you will be dragged by the chaos of the old matrix. Let us uncover the 5 pillars of this change, and how you must position yourself to be the beacon in the middle of the storm. The blackout. The silence of the matrix. The first major event is called the blackout, but it goes far beyond a simple lack of electrical power. It is a profound silence that affects technology, information, and control. It is as if, suddenly, the world were disconnected from the network that keeps it constantly distracted, reactive, and dependent. The digital matrix, made of notifications, headlines, algorithms, and fear, temporarily collapses. And this silence will not be comfortable for everyone. For a long time, humanity has been conditioned to live connected all the time. People wake up looking at screens, fall asleep with screens, decide what to feel based on what they see on screens. Opinions are delivered ready-made, emotions are manipulated, fears are repeated until they become truths. When this flow is interrupted, the first feeling that arises for many is panic. Not because something bad happened outside, but because the inner emptiness appears. For those who depend entirely on the system to think, orient themselves, and feel safe, the blackout will be destabilizing. Without GPS, without social networks, without constant news telling them what is right or wrong, many people will feel lost. There will be confusion, irritation, fear, and even violence in some places. External chaos is born from the absence of internal direction. When the noise disappears, those who never learn to be with themselves collapse. But for you, chosen one, the experience will be different. The same silence that frightens the world will bring relief to your soul. You will feel a strange, almost inexplicable calm, as if something heavy had finally been turned off. The mind slows down. The body breathes better. The heart finds space. For the first time in a long while, you can hear your own thoughts without external interference. This silence allows something rare, listening to intuition clearly. Without the bombardment of information, your natural perception strengthens. You begin to remember what you know, not what you were taught to repeat. Sensations regain value. Premonitions make sense. The body becomes a guide. The chosen one understands that they always had an inner compass, but it was muffled by the constant noise of the modern world. The blackout also exposes a great collective illusion, the idea that we are safe because we have technology. When the power goes out, many realize they no longer know how to orient themselves, converse, exchange, or take care of one another, without systems mediating everything. This event breaks the false sense of control and shows how far humanity has drifted from the earth, from natural time, and from simple life. For the chosen one, this moment activates ancient memories. The value of the local community reappears. Direct exchange, eye-to-eye conversation, shared silence, perception of the environment. You feel a call to reconnect with what is basic, real and human. Walk more, observe the sky, feel the body, be present. This event does not come to punish, it comes to readjust. It is a necessary reset for a humanity that has lost contact with itself. Technology is not the problem in itself, but blind dependence on it is. The Blackout shows who built their security only on the outside and who developed inner strength. True security does not come from outlets, passwords, or networks. It comes from the ability to remain centered when everything slows down. It comes from trust in one's own perception. It comes from connection with something greater that cannot be turned off by any system. While many panic, the chosen one becomes a point of stability. Your calm influences. Your presence soothes. You do not need to give speeches or lead crowds. Simply standing firm is already service. The Blackout reveals who lives on autopilot and who lives awake. This is only the first event. It does not mark the end of the world, but the end of an artificial way of living. And for those who prepared themselves inwardly, the silence of the Matrix is not a threat. It is a reunion. The manifestation of Archangel Michael, the cut of the sword. The second major event does not occur only on the visible plane. It manifests as a profound change in the spiritual field of the earth. It is called the manifestation of Archangel Michael, but it should not be understood as the appearance of a physical figure with wings and a sword. It is a living frequency of justice, truth, and protection that begins to act directly and intensely in human consciousness. Michael represents the principle of the cut of what is false, of what is parasitic, of what is sustained by fear. His sword is not a weapon of violence, but of discernment. It separates what is real from what is illusion. And when this frequency anchors on earth, nothing that is based on lies can remain hidden for long. During this period, many invisible structures begin to collapse. Old energetic ties, emotional dependencies, addictions, repetitive patterns, and relationships based on manipulation begin to break. Not because someone is being punished, but because the frequency that sustained these prisons ceases to exist. What fed on human pain begins to lose strength. For those who live unconsciously, this can be felt as confusion, loss of control, or even internal crises. People may feel irritated, disoriented, or confronted by truths they have always avoided. Masks fall. Poorly told stories are revealed. And what was hidden, both in the collective and in the individual, comes to the surface. For the chosen one, this phase is felt differently. There is a clear increase in inner strength, a sense of firmness, a silent courage that does not depend on external approval. You begin to notice that you are no longer sustaining old fears as before. Situations that once paralyzed you now seem smaller. Difficult decisions begin to become obvious. This is spiritual authority awakening. It is not power over others. It is sovereignty over oneself. You stop negotiating with what weakens you. You stop justifying what no longer makes sense. You stop carrying guilt that is not yours. Michael's sword acts first within you. This frequency also exposes false leaders, false discourses, and false spiritualities. People who used faith to control, fear to dominate, or light as a facade, begin to be unmasked. This happens naturally, without effort. The truth reveals itself because it can no longer be muffled. It is important to understand this is not a call to external war. It is an internal, spiritual war. The battlefield is consciousness. The enemy is not a person, but lies, deception, and fear that have lodged themselves over time. Victory does not come through aggressive confrontation, but through clarity. The chosen one feels that they are no longer alone. There is a sense of support, as if something were behind you, sustaining your choices. This brings responsibility. Because when protection increases, the call to coherence also increases. You can no longer deceive yourself easily. You can no longer live divided. Invoking Michael's energy is not about performing complex rituals. It is about choosing truth, even when it is uncomfortable. It is about saying no to what binds you. It is about cutting habits that drain your energy. It is about ending cycles that survived only through fear. Each conscious choice is a strike of the sword of light. This cut also reaches spiritual ego. The need to feel special, superior, or more awakened is also removed. Michael does not strengthen pride. He strengthens alignment. The true chosen one becomes simpler, firmer, and quieter. Less need to prove, more presence. This is a time of deep cleansing. Some people leave your life. Some certainties fall. Some truths hurt before they liberate. But everything that falls needed to fall. The sword does not cut to wound. It cuts to free. At the end of this process, what remains is real. What remains has roots. What remains does not depend on fear. And you realize that the greatest battle that existed was internal. And it begins to be won when you choose not to live trapped anymore. The manifestation of Michael marks a point of no return. After the cut, there is no longer any way to pretend you do not see. And for the chosen one, this is not a threat. It is liberation. The awakening of the physical body, the mutation of DNA. The third event does not happen outside. It happens inside, in the body, in the flesh, in the cell. It is the awakening of the physical body, a profound process that many do not understand, but that the chosen ones clearly feel. It is not symbolic. It is lived day by day, in a different kind of fatigue, in changes of rhythm, in sensations that find no simple explanation. The human body has always been treated as something separate from spiritual consciousness. But this is an ancient illusion. The body is a living temple, a receiver of frequency. And now it is being activated to sustain a level of light that previously could not be maintained for long. The solar frequencies that reach Earth are not just heat or ordinary radiation. They carry information. This information directly affects the cells. That is why many people begin to feel the so-called ascension symptoms. Pains that appear and disappear without a clear medical reason. Pressure in the head, a sensation of internal heat. Sudden changes in sleep, such as always waking at the same time in the early morning hours. Deep fatigue, followed by bursts of energy. Emotions surfacing without apparent explanation. For those who are unaware of the process, this looks like illness, imbalance, or weakness. For the chosen one, over time it becomes clear that it is adjustment. It is recalibration. The body is learning to function at another frequency. What was once tolerable begins to bother. Very heavy foods, dense environments, excess stimulation. Everything begins to generate immediate reaction. The so-called junk DNA, which science has never really been able to explain, begins to be activated. It is not junk. It is memory. It is dormant potential. It is codes that were always there, waiting for the right moment to be turned on. And this moment is not chosen by the ego, but by the maturity of consciousness. This activation does not turn anyone into someone special in the sense of superiority. It turns them into someone more sensitive, more responsible, and more aware of the impact of their own choices. The body begins to ask for more water, more real rest, more contact with nature. The sun ceases to be just external light and begins to be felt as fuel. Many chosen ones report that they can no longer eat as they did before. The body rejects excess. It asks for simplicity. It asks for cleansing. Not because of a spiritual rule, but because of biological necessity. It is as if the organism were saying, This no longer matches the frequency we are sustaining. At the same time, inner abilities begin to awaken naturally, not as a spectacle, but as expanded sensitivity. You perceive the atmosphere of a place upon entering. You feel when someone is suffering even without words. Your intuition becomes faster. Your body reacts before the rational mind. This is not fantasy. It is refined perception. Some people begin to feel energy in their hands. Others notice that their presence calms others. Others have very lucid dreams. This is not something to force, nor to display. It is a consequence of a nervous system that is reorganizing itself to function in greater coherence with consciousness. For those who resist the process, trying to maintain old habits and denying the body's signals, the adjustment turns into suffering. The body speaks louder. It creates symptoms. It asks for attention. But for the chosen one who listens, the process becomes purification. Uncomfortable at times, yes, but liberating. This awakening also requires patience. The body does not change overnight. There are phases, good days, confusing days, moments of deep clarity, and moments of extreme fatigue. None of this is regression. It is integration. The most important thing here is to stop fighting your own body. It is not the enemy. It is the vehicle of the mission. The more you cooperate, sleeping better, hydrating, breathing consciously, reducing excess, the smoother the process becomes. Divine biology is reclaiming control over matter. The body ceases to be merely a survivor and becomes a conductor. And when body and consciousness begin to align, something changes profoundly. You begin to inhabit your own life with greater presence. This is the awakening of the physical body. It is not overly mystical. It is intimate. It is daily. It is real. And for the chosen one, it is yet another confirmation that the transformation is not only spiritual, it is total. The fall of the systems. The collapse of institutions. The fourth event is the most visible of all, because it happens outside and before everyone's eyes. It is the fall of the systems. Structures that seemed solid, eternal, and unshakable begin to crumble almost at the same time. Not all at once, but in sequence, like dominoes. And the more someone clings to them, the greater the suffering. These systems were built on fragile foundations: fear, control, debt, manipulation, and the illusion of security. For a long time, they functioned because people believed in them. But now, the frequency of human consciousness is changing, and what is not sustained by truth cannot remain standing. The financial system, based on artificial scarcity and constant debt, begins to show deep cracks. People work their entire lives without ever feeling secure. Governments print numbers that do not represent real value. Money ceases to be a tool and becomes a prison. When this structure begins to fail, panic arises, because many have confused money with survival. At the same time, religious institutions based on fear, guilt, and punishment lose strength. Not spirituality, this grows, but spiritual control. People begin to realize that connection with the divine does not pass through intermediaries who exploit faith. The sacred becomes intimate again, lived, silent. And this frightens those who have always used God as an instrument of power. Political structures also enter collapse, not because organization itself is bad, but because manipulation has become too evident. Empty promises, games of interest, discourses disconnected from real life. Trust breaks, and when trust ends, the system cannot sustain itself. For many, this collapse looks like the end of the world. For the chosen one, it is the end of a world that no longer worked. It is important to understand this. It is not destruction for the sake of destruction. It is conscious demolition. You do not build something new on top of a condemned building. Desperation arises because many people handed over their identity, their value, and their security to these structures. When they fall, the person feels like they are nothing. The chosen one, on the other hand, has already gone through inner detachments before, has already learned that real security does not come from institutions, but from consciousness, community, and presence. It is at this moment that the call arises to create new models, not large global systems immediately, but small living structures, closer communities, real support networks, exchanges based on trust, education that teaches how to think, not just how to obey, work with meaning, not just survival. You may feel this call as discomfort, a feeling that it is no longer possible to live as before, that something in you rejects the old model of working to pay bills until you die. This is not empty rebellion. It is perception maturing. The chosen ones, often without realizing it, have already begun this process, seeking emotional autonomy, reducing dependencies, questioning patterns, learning to live with less, but with more meaning, creating alternatives, even small ones, to the traditional system. This does not mean abandoning everything all at once. It means not placing your soul inside structures that are collapsing. It means preparing yourself with consciousness, not with fear. Developing real skills, strengthening human bonds, caring for your own energy and your own clarity. This is a time when you may be called to help others cross the confusion, not with grand speeches, but with firm presence, with simple solutions, with humanity. Sometimes, simply by showing that there is life outside the collapse. Do not lament the fall of these structures. They fulfilled their role. Now the invitation is different, to participate in the construction of something more coherent with the consciousness that is being born. Something less based on fear and more based on cooperation. The old world is not ending because it failed. It is ending because it fulfilled what it could. The new is not born from nothing. It is born from the people who are able to remain conscious while everything changes. And if you are listening to this with a mixture of unease and clarity, it is because in some way you already knew. This collapse is not the end. It is the beginning of a greater responsibility. The arrival of the light, the final solar event. The fifth event does not arrive as a threat. It arrives as revelation. The arrival of the light is the definitive turning point. The moment when what had been prepared in silence manifests clearly. Many call this event the Great Solar Flash, but it is not merely a physical phenomenon in the sky. It is an unprecedented expansion of collective consciousness. This light is not just brightness. It is information. It is condensed truth. It is love in its pure state, passing through all layers of reality. When it arrives, there is no way to escape who you are. There is no way to hide intentions, masks, or inner lies. Every human being finds themselves face to face with themselves, without filters, without distractions, without external narratives to lean on. For many, this will be a shock, because spending a lifetime running away from oneself exacts a price when the truth appears all at once. Repressed emotions, avoided choices, unhealed pains come to the surface, not as punishment, but as a final opportunity for integration. The light does not accuse, it reveals. For the chosen ones, this moment has a different flavor. It is not a surprise. It is recognition. It is as if something inside you says, I remember. What once seemed confusing becomes organized. What seemed fragmented fits together. This is the so-called final download, not in a technological sense, but as a deep alignment between soul, mind, and body. In that instant, your mission ceases to be a vague feeling and becomes inner clarity. You do not need someone to tell you what to do. You simply know. Not as an obligation, but as a final expression of your true self. The light is not a destination. It is a destination. but as a natural truth. The body, which went through so many adjustments, becomes lighter. The mind grows quiet. The heart opens without fear. The arrival of the light dissolves the last shadows, because shadow only exists where there is an absence of consciousness. The mission begins now. The time of just knowing is over. Now is the time of being. These 5 events are not dates on a calendar, but milestones of a transformation that has already begun within you. If you are a chosen one, your responsibility is to remain calm while the world grows agitated. You are the anchor that will prevent others from being carried away by panic. Your spiritual preparation is the most valuable tool you possess in this moment of planetary transition. Remember, you were born for this. Every tear you cried and every desert you crossed was meant to forge the steel of your soul for this moment. The light has already won, but the manifestation of this victory in matter depends on your readiness and your courage. Do not fear the blackout. Do not fear the collapse. Fear only remaining asleep while the sun of the new era rises on the horizon. I want to hear from you. Which of these 5 events do you feel you are already beginning to witness? Leave your comment below, because your perception helps strengthen other chosen ones who are still in doubt. Share this video with those you know have ears to hear. I am George, and I'll see you at the next awakening. The light prevails.